I am a staff person at SEMA. I'm actually run one of our benefits, technology transfer. I'm going to speak about that here in a few minutes. I'm engaged in a lot of these technologies that we're speaking about here in the second half of today's presentation. As you guys are looking now to develop your new products, you kind of need some hard data, right? You need to actually start making products for applications, vehicle applications. The resources that give you that information, the technology transfer program and our measuring sessions. And then once you're past that point and you're actually prototyping and testing your products, we have another benefit that our members have access to, and that's rapid prototyping. The first two of these benefits are for manufacturer members, and the rapid prototyping is available to all members of SEMA. All right, so technology transfer, what is this? This is basically a partnership with OEMs, currently Chrysler, Ford, General Motors, and Scion. And what they do is they share their production data in a CAD file format. That means that we have access to all of their current production vehicles, which are in the US. So this is specific to the US market, current production, and then all new models that are coming out. Typically, we get these files 6 months to about a month before the vehicle actually hits the market. We also have a catalog of data. So we have current production vehicles, but then all of these OEMs have been partners with SEMA since approximately 2004. So as we've requested data from them, we've kept the files. And so if there's any applications that your company is looking at making products for, as far as 2004 and newer, we are able to typically provide information for you guys to design your products from. There are some exceptions. Anything that falls under the high performance division groups or parts groups. So for example, and these are the special models like SRT, TRD, SVT programs, any of those vehicles that come under those umbrellas, we don't have access to that. Or anything that's under the General Motors performance parts or Ford Racing or TRD parts. Those things, because they kind of look at us as a competitor of theirs, they won't share that information. But anything that falls under the general production volume, they will share that. Other exceptions, body panel, there's some restrictions to body panel, depending on the OEM. If we're speaking about General Motors, they're pretty open about actually releasing complete body panels, but Chrysler and Ford are a little bit more critical of what they release to us. So they will release it, but they will release only sections of it. So if your company's looking at doing a wheel well, for example, or a fender flare, they won't release the full fender quarter panel, but they will release the wheel arc of the body panel. Electrical systems, for the most part, are not available. We might be able to get a case of the module or something like that, but any of the internals would not be available. And safety parts are completely off limits, so we don't have any airbag module or safety restraint systems. Specifics to the CAD data that we have, it's all available at nominal tolerances. So this is essentially the information that they're sending to their suppliers. They do strip it of some of the intelligence like material properties, surface finish and stuff like that. But as far as the surfaces and the measurements that you can extract from it, it's all at nominal. Tolerance information may not be available on the CAD file, but we can ask for either clarification, or we can ask for special 2D prints that would offer this information. The information comes to us in what's a neutral format. These are standard formats that the industry has created to make it easy to go between different CAD software applications out there. They are STEP, IGES, and Parasolid. So if you're running in any of these software programs that we have here, I listed a Libra, AutoCAD, CATIA, Unigraphics, Pro-E, Rhino, Solid Edge, SolidWorks. From speaking with our members, this is what's being used out there. So practically all of these, they all have their own proprietary format, but they also work with the standard format. So you're able to bring in these files and then start working with that information to develop your own files. That's the technology transfer program in short. The next benefit that we have are measuring sessions. And what this is, we get hands-on access to vehicles, new vehicles for the most part. Most of the time, we get access to these vehicles prior to them hitting the market. They'll give us 1 or 2 trim levels, so you can be exposed to the different options that are on the vehicles. And what they let us do is there's some limited disassembly. Some of it they allow us to do. Other times they have staff on hand that can take off the parts for us, and we can look at the parts, or we can test your own parts on the vehicle. You can obviously measure the vehicle. They allow us to bring in scan. I think for the most part we've never had a restriction, but for the most part we can, if you have a 3D scan tool, you can bring it in and actually scan off their vehicles. Some companies who have, and one example is we've been given CAD data from, like, for example, Scion. At the, I think it was the XB, they gave us access to these files 6 months ahead of the market release. We handed this off to one of our members. They created a prototype, and then at the measuring session brought this piece and test fitted on the vehicle. So these are some of the opportunities that are given to you at these measuring sessions. It is primarily OEM staff. Usually these are hosted at the OEMs. Nissan, Toyota, and Honda, Mazda. These are all mostly based out of West Coast. So here in California, those measuring sessions typically occur. The big three, in Detroit, Michigan, that's where most of those tend to happen. But again, they are OEM staff, and it's typically the product experts. So we're allowed to ask them questions regarding, like, the trim level and the variations in trim level. And in some cases, if they've got some information as to production volumes and stuff like that, that's the type of questions that you're able to ask and information you're able to get from these events. And our last benefit that we have is we have a rapid prototyping machine. It does ABS plastics, uses FDM technology. One of our speakers who's coming up after me is with Stratasys, who has been our partner with this machine. He's going to talk more about the technology and the different materials that are available, and then different capacities. But what they've allowed us to do is basically introduce this kind of a resource to our member companies and get them exposed to what you can do with your 3D design processes, and then benefit from them, because it's very easy to go into this kind of technology once you've gotten everything in a 3D design. Now, our particular machine is able to do parts in 3 different resolutions, going from 13 thousandths of an inch, 10 thousandths of an inch, to 7 thousandths of an inch. So depending on the requirement you have for your resolution, you can go with a more finite resolution if you're trying to do something that's more of a showpiece. But if you're just test fitting or function testing, you may not need to go into such detail. It allows you to do testing of the form, fit, in some cases function. ABS allows you can sand it, you can paint it, you can chrome it. So you can use this as for test function, or you can actually use it as a marketing showpiece. And a lot of our members have done that as well. We're limited to a 10-inch by 10-inch by 12-inch build envelope, so it's not very big. It's about this big. But you can, if you need to go bigger, you can create notches in your part, and we can make other pieces that you can glue together. The only thing that we require is that that you provide us with the CAD model. STL seems to be the standard for any one of these machines, but we're able to take any kind of CAD file type and then convert it into something that we can create a prototype for you. If you're looking for any more information on any of these, it's SEMA.org, and you just add tech-transfer, rapid prototyping, or measuring session. If you need to contact me, I'm at techtransfer@sema.org. And I think that's all I have for you guys.